It's like it's impossible to find some real honest, down-to-earth based grounded opinion on this. It's just hype. It's only hype. They make it sound like DJI reinvented physics or something. Now, hopefully in today's video, I can give you something a little more grounded. So we're gonna do a quick unboxing first, then I'm gonna take it for a spin, and then I'll wrap this video up at the end with a conclusion. And also if you feel stressed about not having this drone yet, or that you feel that you need to buy it, maybe I can try and calm your nerves as well at the end of this video. Now also, this is the higher end version of the 3 drones you can pick from, and I did buy this drone with my own money. That was painful. I actually had to sell my bicycle. Alright, so let's crank this thing open. Holy! So the bag itself feels, it feels like it can handle some challenging weather conditions. That's what it feels like. So let's open this thing up. Let's start with the drone. Ooh. It actually feels heavier than my Mavic 3. And there it is, the ugly little bastard. I do actually prefer the look of the older Mavic, if I'm gonna be completely honest. It also has more sensors. If you look at the Mavic 3 Classic, you can see that the Mavic 4 has those extra sensors on top. So it's the same with the drone as the controller when you fold it out. It's basically when you unfold this one, the top right leg, that's the one that triggers the turn on. I can already feel that it's much bigger than the Mavic. When I hold it, it feels much bigger. The same with the batteries and the battery charger, it feels bigger, a little bit more premium maybe. Alright, next we have some accessories. Alright, so moving over to something I think people obsess too much about, if I'm going to be completely honest. I'm not going to get to that at the end of this video as well. Look at that. First of all, I come from this. Now this is the original remote controller that came with the Mavic 3 Classic when I bought that. So you can imagine the upgrade here. So this is what everyone is obsessing about. Bam. So when you close it, it actually powers off. And then when you open it, it powers back on. First impression, high-end, premium, expensive. But the question is, do we need it? Gonna get to that at the end of this video as well. But very fun, cool device. Also we have a box with a lot of cables. I'm assuming it's for the charger and a very strong USB-C cable. And then we have adapter. So this one is 240 watts. Alright, that was it. So first impressions here of the unboxing. Premium, little on the heavier side. But premium. Alright, so I'm just gonna go ahead and register it and insure it. And then we'll take it for a spin.
Home point updated.
Alright, so I've written down some pros and some cons, but let's start off with the hype first. So, is it a good drone? Yes, it's a fantastic drone. And when I say it's overhyped, it's more of the sensation or the feeling people create. It's like this feeling of, fear of missing out that people are creating when they review this drone that I don't like. It kind of feels like you need to buy it. There's really no reason for you to stress out, especially if you're coming from the Mavic 3 Pro, because that is already such a great device. So for me personally, I come from the Mavic 3 Classic, so this was a huge upgrade for me. I'm also pretty set on, taking my YouTube channel towards more drone content, so it's kind of also like a YouTube decision / big upgrade for me personally. But as I said, if you're coming from the Mavic 3 Pro, it's not necessarily that huge of an upgrade. But let's start off with some other pros here. So, as I said, this is probably the best device out there right now in terms of, portability, ease of use, what it's capable of. Something I noticed now that I've been flying it around is also how far you can tilt up the gimbal, which I really loved because it opens up more, it's more creative freedom to get different angles for your video, stuff like that. So I love that. Also the gimbal, twisting the gimbal, that is one of the main features of this drone. I do like that as well because that is also something that opens up more creativity. It just opens up more, it's just another tool to tell stories. This is probably gonna get pretty old pretty fast because I assume that all the creators out there are going to overuse this, me included. I'm going to use this probably way more than I should. Also something I noticed when I was in the menu that I could actually not only adjust the white balance, but I could also adjust the tint. That is something I haven't seen before. I'm pretty sure, because I don't have that on my Mavic 3 Classic. You have to correct me if I'm wrong here, but I'm pretty sure that's not on the Mavic 3 Pro as well. I might be mistaken about that. Something else that's a big pro for this drone is that for this higher end version, they decided to include 10-bit 422. This is something that the Mavic 3 series did not have. It was only the Cine version that had 422. If you don't know what that is, it's basically, it gives you more options in post to push the image further if you're into color grading and stuff like that. So if you don't know what 422 is, you probably don't need it either, so I wouldn't really think about that. And the other big pro, as I see it, is that we get that 6K resolution on the sensor that bumps up from 5.1K. I don't really know how big that difference really is. I'm gonna be, of course, testing that versus my Mavic 3 Classic eventually. Those are kind of the biggest pros right now as I can see them. Now, of course, this will probably change as well as I get more experience with this drone. So over to the cons. So the first big con I have, I don't like the way DJI does some things sometimes. So for example, with this drone, I really wanted the higher end version with the 422 10-bit, but I didn't necessarily want the controller. If it was up to me personally, if I had the option, I probably would have gotten the drone and then gotten one of the lower end controllers to save some cash. And one of the biggest features that I see a lot of people talking about and hyping up is the way that you can flip the screen so that you can shoot vertically. Although that is a very cool feature, you could also just press a button on the controller to shoot vertically. So it's not really something that you need in order to shoot vertically. It's just something that's cool to have. And if you go and look up this controller online, I think it's like 12,000 Norwegian kroners here for this controller, which is like $1,100, some crazy thing like that. That is extremely expensive. I find myself very often on top of mountains, dealing with snow here in Norway, in mud, dirty environments. I don't feel very comfortable operating such a beautiful controller in an environment like that. Now, something else I noticed was that, so the first time I looked at the bag, I really loved the bag, but then I noticed that it doesn't have a zipper, so you can only fold it to close it. So the bag itself feels very resistant to rain, but it doesn't have a zipper, so it's kind of exposed anyways. Yeah, something else is the auto turn on and off, both for the controller and for the drone. I've already have, just by using this drone now for only one day, I've already had annoyances with that. Sometimes it turns on, sometimes it doesn't turn on. And sometimes I don't want it to turn on. And I don't really know if that is an option to actually just turn that off in general. I know it's made for ease of use, but is it going to be ease of use if it's just going to be annoying? So speaking of annoyances, something I noticed with this controller was that it was very easy to accidentally push a lot of buttons on this and press stuff I didn't really want to touch. I don't know, maybe it's just me that's clumsy, but it feels very sensitive for some reason. The same with the way so right now I didn't want it to turn on, but it did. So I was just going to showcase something. So with a mechanic like this as well, I'm worried that this will just end up getting loose eventually. Alright, so last con is the weight. It comes in at over 1 kilo. That means that there's different rules about how you can fly this drone. You can still fly it, but there's different rules to it. So if you want to fly it the same way you flew your Mavic 3 drone, you are going to have to go ahead and take the A2, I think. Alright, so that is what I had for you today. So I'm going to release a lot of Mavic 4 Pro videos this summer, and I also do DaVinci Resolve tutorials for color grading, D-Log and stuff like that. So don't forget to smash that like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Have a good day.